Hey Transformers fans, Adam here, back with another Transformers review. And am I ever excited for this one? I just got him the other day and I was so excited I put him ahead of all the other reviews that I had planned. A commemorative reissue of G1 Ultra Magnus, just like I had when I was a kid, with a couple of exceptions. Some small ones, and some bigger ones that we'll get into. But first, we'll do a close-up of his packaging here. So on front, nice graphic of Magnus in his robot mode. Magnus fits inside there nice and snug. On the side here, other Transformers that they released during this commemorative series. And this was during a period of time where they did not have the rights to the name Hot Rod. Hence why they got a little creative with the name here. On the side, picture of Magnus in robot mode and vehicle mode. Same thing on the bottom. On the top, a demonstration of how to transform him. And on the back, the usual graphic of the Transformers, and then a mini bio for Ultra Magnus. Now let's put that back there and talk about his accessories. So we have his blaster, and then not just one, but two sets of robot fists, smaller ones and bigger ones. We'll get into why in just a bit. And then his chest plate and robot head. And fun fact, when these were originally released in Japan before the Transformers were the Transformers, and they had human pilots, this chest plate also acted as a little jet. And the robot head here clipped on top to give the jet some lasers. Fun fact I only just found out the other day, and now you guys know it too. And then they gave you an extra cab connector, because I guess they figured you needed two in case you lost one. Although personally, if I was going to get two of something, I'd rather have extra fists. So there we go. And now Magnus himself here. Again, just like I had when I was a kid, with the exceptions being the exhaust pipes. They are noticeably smaller than the ones I had with the original G1. And I'm okay with that, because the exhaust pipes weren't really part of his identity like they were with Optimus. The bigger exceptions were these missiles here. After the 80s, choke hazard laws got more strict, and they basically had to make these things ridiculously long. Let's take one of these out and put one of these in. And yeah, you could see why I basically had no choice but to modify this, because there was no way I was going to live with that. So what I did was, I went ahead and cut the missile right at the warhead, and then cut this end piece in half, and then drilled a hole right down the middle of the warhead, and stuck the shortened end piece in and super glued it in place. Much more acceptable, and it still works just fine. Rockets away. And now Ultra Magnus himself, who is actually made up of two parts here. So the front part is a Mack truck, and if it looks like G1 Optimus Prime for you, well, that's because it is G1 Optimus Prime, just painted white. More on that in a little bit. But instead of towing a trailer, he tows a car carrier. So let's say that an Autobot needs help. They need a lift back to Autobot headquarters for repairs. He just slows down his ramp here. Let's get G1 Ironhide out here. Up he goes. Goes up the ramp. And they're off to Autobot headquarters. Let's take him back out. And let's say the bottom here was already full of Autobots that need repairs. Well, Ironhide's going to need to go up top. So we just bring these panels out. And then lower this ramp down. There we go. And up Ironhide goes. Got a bird's eye view of everything. Raise these pieces back up. Rotate the panels back in. And close the ramp up. Yeah, and this is why Ultra Magnus was one of my favorites as a kid. He can carry a whole army of Autobots wherever they need to go. All right. Let's go ahead and put Ironhide aside here. And let's go ahead and transform him. The transformation is actually going to be in two parts. So first, for Ghost Optimus Prime here, is the exact same transformation as G1 Optimus. Again, that's because he is just painted white. And we'll put the smaller fists on. And there is Ghost Prime. Or I should really say Ultra Magnus, because we never actually saw this in the G1 animated series, but other adaptations of the Transformers and comic books, they did confirm that Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus were brothers, and that this is actually Ultra Magnus's base form, and when he combines with the car carrier, that's actually a suit of armor for him. Again, we never actually saw that on the show, and once I found this out, I really wish that we did. That could have made for some really interesting storylines. But anyway, let's go ahead and switch to the mode that we're all more familiar with. And by the way, notice how in his base form, he has a face shield, but in the mode that's supposed to be a suit of armor for him, he actually has a mouth. Interesting. Very interesting. But anyway, let's go ahead and tuck his arms away. And there's one more thing that we'll need to do with them, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Right now, we'll focus on the car carrier part here. Take off the rocket launchers. Get ahead and lift these pieces up. Move these panels back out. And compress these up as far as I go. Next step, rotate these pieces up as far as they go and clip them into place. And they become his feet. Aim this camera up a little higher. Disconnect these pieces. And rotate them back all the way. And they become his arms. Go ahead and put the bigger robot fists on. We'll put the chest plate on. And then the cab connector here, we're going to take that off. And bring that around to the front. And that becomes a belt for Ultra Magnus. And then the rocket launcher is clipped right into his shoulder here. Turn that around, and then Ghost Prime here. So the last thing we need to do with him is bring his feet down, and then we'll clip him into place with the lights here going right into the little pegs where the cab connector clipped into. And he does have some pieces on the side of his tires here that slide into these pieces here for a guide. So just line it up and slide them into place. And there we go. And finally, clip on the robot head. And there he is, G1 Ultra Magnus and his G1 glory. I would say bot mode, but I think block mode is more accurate. Because, yeah, there isn't a whole lot of movement going on here. The legs, there is nothing happening there. They are definitely set in place. What he can do, though, is move his arms around. 360 action. Yep, stay in place, rocket launcher. We're going to need you. Never know when we run into Cyclonus or Galvatron. Move his elbows in and out, up and down. Again, the rocket launchers do fire, so take that, Cyclonus. And we'll give him his laser. Have him blast away at Galvatron. Although, honestly, I'd rather him see... so excited I can't even talk. I'd rather see him just throw hands with Galvatron and Cyclonus. They made for some great battles in this Season 3 of the series. Yeah, I'll admit, it's kind of bad, G1 badness. But it's what I had when I was a kid, and I loved it then, and I still love it now. And there have been other versions of our boy here that have done him much more justice, including the Studio Series, which I do have on the way, and that'll be in a future review, and I cannot wait to get that one. But anyway, let's go ahead and transform him back. We'll take off the rocket launchers. Leave this aside for now. Take off the robot fists. Take off the cab connector. Leave that aside. And the chest plate. And the robot head. Now we'll go ahead and disconnect Ghost Prime. Stand you up for now, so that we can work on the car carrier part. So, start by unclipping the arms. Bring the feet back up. Straighten the arms out. Bring them back around and clip them together. Getting this camera down again. And bring the arms back out. Bring that panel back in. And rest the arms right on top there. There we go. And then reattach the rocket launchers. And the cab connector. Just clips right in the bottom here. And then Ghost Prime. Bring his arms back out temporarily so that we can tuck that robot head back in. And then bring the feet and the legs back up. And back to a Mack truck towing a car carrier. I am beyond happy to have this back in my collection. I feel like I'm 8 years old again. Again, I do have the Studio Series ULTRA MAGNUS on the way. I cannot wait to get that one and review it. Don't worry, as soon as I do, I will drop that video almost immediately. But that's all about wrapping up for this review. Join me again for my next one. Until then, take care, Transformers fans.